Hello and welcome to Meditations for Mortals. I'm Lindsay Milner. Meditations for Mortals is Oliver Burkeman's book, a 4-week guide to doing what counts. And in the book, in the introduction, he suggests that we take one chapter a day and reflect on the principles contained within that chapter. So today we are on day 25, so we're reaching the end of the 4-week guide. Day 25 is called You Can't Hoard Life, on letting the moments pass. Now, in some respects, I think this is quite similar to some of the other things that he's covered about being present, being in the moment, not sort of focusing on the future that we looked at a couple of days ago. But he puts a slightly different slant on it. He says that sometimes we try too hard to savour the moment, to think, oh, I need to make this happen more often, rather than just actually being in that moment and enjoying that moment as it is. And he picks up on a couple of things occurred to me actually as I was reading the first bit, and he picks up on similar concepts but slightly different examples to the ones that popped into my head. He talks about Buddhism and how we often create a lot of our own suffering by putting the pressure on ourselves, whereas the first thing I thought of was a Buddhist saying where, you know, this glass, it's already broken. If you have a glass, one of these days it's going to get dropped on the floor or it's going to crack. The other thing that he picks up on, again from a different culture, is from Japanese culture, where he talks about the tea ceremony and their focus on how you have to accept that this tea ceremony is transient. Even if you repeat something similar the next day, it's not the same as this one. Even if you're with the same people, it's not the same as this one. This moment is transient. I don't know much about Japanese culture, but I did fairly recently read something about philosophy around the world, and one of the things that kind of stayed with me from that was he talks about the Japanese, the cherry blossoms, and I guess this stayed with me because it's one of the things that if I went to Japan that I would really want to see. And what this philosophy book talked about was that people gather to watch the cherry blossoms as they fall. The beauty and the sadness is in the fact that they are so transient, and you know, we have them and then they're gone until next year. And that kind of stayed with me, that the whole point of the Japanese admiring the cherry blossom is its transience. So that's Burkeman's point in this chapter, is don't try too hard to cling on to the good moments, to like really hold on to them and not let them go, because as he says, you can't hoard life. We do have to move on. We do have to do something different in the next moment. We do have good things happening, but they're not always happening. And sometimes there's sadness and we have to let that sadness in because things are transient. So I kind of like this chapter, although I think it's a little bit abstract, it's a little bit intangible. In fact, maybe that's what I'm trying to do, is I'm trying to hold on to the thought, hold on to the concept that he's talking about, whereas in fact I should just accept the point that you can't hoard life and good things do come to an end. Burkeman also relates this to our finitude. Are we subconsciously hanging on to the good moments in life because we want them to last forever, because we want to live forever? It's about not accepting our finitude, which kind of takes us a little bit full circle back to week 1. So that is day 25. It's an interesting one. You can't hoard life, on letting the moments pass. Oliver Burkeman's Meditations for Mortals, a 4-week guide to doing what counts. Let me know, what do you think? Do you have any greater knowledge of the Japanese concepts or the Buddhist concepts in this particular, this way of thinking? I will see you next time. I'm Lindsay Milner, and day 26. I'll see you then. Bye.